Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Well, thank you for rising and shining with us this morning. So I will take the next 10, 12 minutes to tell you about LoRaWAN in general, what it does, what its strengths are, and where it stands, and what's the current adoption in the market. So starting with the most basics, if you were blindfolded, how would you recognize this technology as LoRaWAN? First of all, it is long range. By long range, what we mean is in dense urban settings, it can provide coverage for a couple kilometers. And when it sees line of sight, there are no obstacles between the end device and the network. It reaches more than 600 kilometers. That's how we're able to put LoRaWAN base stations on the low Earth orbiting satellites, providing coverage for sensors on the ground. And even though we just say long range, when you start dropping in walls and ceilings in front, it starts penetrating through them, multiple walls, multiple floors, and that's why it also gets used indoors. Secondly, it's very low power, and this is where the magic starts. Achieving range is not too hard, but doing so by using very little power is the challenge. So by consuming as little power as a garage door opener, 25 milliwatt transmission, this is the gap that we have been filling, long range and low power. And while doing that, we have also built an ecosystem that provides a very low-cost infrastructure, and all doing that while using unlicensed bands. And obviously, we didn't stop at that. That was the starting point. We kept innovating on top. And if you look at the full characteristics of LoRaWAN, this is what you're going to see. On top of the fundamental features we have, we also provide numerous advanced features in order to have a reliable, secure, manageable, highly scalable infrastructure, providing things like roaming, firmware update over the air, multicast management, fragmentation, relay, compression. So it's a very rich set of tools we provide on top of the basic functionality. And then, using this technology, today one can build not only public networks, but also private networks and community networks. Among all the wireless communication technologies, LoRaWAN is the only one that can have this variety of networks at scale. And we not only do that on the ground, terrestrially, but we also build such networks in space. And on top of that, furthermore, we are able to integrate them together. Today, we have integration between satellite networks and nationwide networks, between private LoRaWAN networks and community networks, and all combination among them. And as such, we not only accelerate the innovation on the technology front, but also on the business side. And this is an open standard coming from LoRa Alliance. I'll tell you more about that later. And this standard is also endorsed and published by ITU. And it is backed by a very large and growing ecosystem, many of which you can see on the floor today, and you have seen them yesterday as well. So this is the characteristics of LoRaWAN. Now, using that, so what do we do with that, right? It's been in action across several verticals and all around the world. So just to give you some examples, the first one is water metering. This is where we have the largest deployments in number of connected devices. So Veolia is a utility from France. They have more than 5 million connected water meters scattered across France using the public network, the nationwide public network provided by Orange. And they're also using their own base stations, their own network, and they have public to private integration through roaming to provide this service, which requires very high SLA. And the second one is our highest, the fastest growing vertical, facility management. This is by Verizon Wireless in US. They have deployed LoRaWAN in State Farm NBA Arena in Atlanta for facility management. And this is just the beginning of their rollout, and they are already rolling out LoRaWAN in several other facility management use cases. Then jumping to the third one, this is pest control, which might sound like, oh yeah, okay, we talked about this for several years, the connected rat trap. Well, this example is coming from Rentokil, world's largest and oldest pest control company. This is a 100-year-old world's leading pest control company. And after having shopped around, looked around other wireless technologies, they have decided to use LoRaWAN because LoRaWAN provides connectivity where pests are hanging around in the most remote parts of the facility, and no other wireless was practical to get coverage there. Then the fourth one is Europe's largest oil refinery operated by Shell. It has connected valves, temperature sensors, vibration sensors provided by TWTG. Then Tata Communications, street lighting, more than 350,000 street lights across India and Saudi Arabia connected through LoRaWAN network built by Tata. And obviously smart agriculture, cattle tracking, which is, I mean, there are numbers here which are not made public. I mean, the customer names are not made public, but the sizes here are like in the order of 500,000 and more at several deployments. And we not only serve the immediate commercial businesses, but also we save people and planet. Our member company, Centigix, built panic buttons using LoRaWAN, and it is already deployed in more than 15,000 locations across US, at schools, hospitals, and hotels, literally saving lives. And Dryad has a wildfire detection sensor that also talks through the satellites and protecting our forests. And Connected Conservation Foundation, another member of LoRa Alliance, they have deployed LoRaWAN networks in more than 35 wildlife parks across 10 nations in Africa, tracking the location movement of endangered species like black rhinos, elephants, tracking ranger vehicles, ranger dogs, and also the tourist vehicles. And these are all for reducing the human-wildlife conflict. And then you would wonder, OK, if you have so many use cases all around the world, what's the footprint, right? As of now, we have more than 125 million connected LoRaWAN devices all around the world. And these numbers are growing by 25% every year in these years. And if you look under the hood, we see the examples of our largest networks. Zener, which is doing mostly metering, has nearly 10 million connected devices. And Veolia, I already mentioned 5 million. And other members like Actility, 4.6. The Things Industries, as they have already shared yesterday, they have 3.8 million devices, and Netmore, 3.4 million devices. And these numbers, the largest networks' growth is more than 25%. You would see them growing at like 30, 40, and even 50% year over year. So we are on a really great trajectory as the LoRaWAN adoption is exponentially growing. And obviously, we're not stopping here, right? I mean, we got our first 10 years behind us. This is just the beginning. And within this 10 years, we started from one over-the-air protocol, which was called LoRaWAN. We have grown it all the way to a full end-to-end architecture that spans multiple architectural elements like network server, joint server, application server. And then we have also started marching towards the application layer. And having put the 10 years behind us, the 3 axes that we are expanding our architecture includes coverage extension through satellite, through relay, through walk-by, drive-by reading. Some of these are ongoing work. And plug and play, both on the end device side and also on the infrastructure side, in order to scale this to further millions and billions of devices. Definitely plug and play is key, and that's what we are working on in the technical committee. And we keep adopting application domains to tap into legacy IoT markets that has been using either a wired technology or wireless, and now we come in with a more advanced wireless technology to basically penetrate into these markets. And this evolution is feeding into and feeding from device evolution, network evolution, solution evolution, and business model evolution. And all of these are working in tandem and accelerating and feeding into each other, thanks to this technology being very low cost, using unlicensed band, using open standard being highly accessible. And what is feeding all that work, right? That's our vision. So our vision is LoRaWAN will become a utility thanks to the ubiquitous networks, like multiple networks in any region, any building, like public, private, and community overlaid networks being integrated and acting as one. So this is how we're going to be achieving ubiquitous networks. And plug and play will turn LoRaWAN into a utility, much like electricity is a utility, water is a utility, wastewater management is a utility, right? Or gas. And it'll also become a base connectivity for digital objects, and it'll also accelerate the digitalization of objects. We're already seeing LoRaWAN starting to be used as the out-of-band control plane for various devices and infrastructure and equipment. So this will accelerate. And as such, it'll emerge as the main engine accelerating IoT. And our vision is it'll be touching every business, every people, and every part of the planet. And this is why it is already forming the fourth pillar of the wireless communication industry, complementing the functionality of Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and cellular. And then if you're wondering what is behind all that, it is the LoRa Alliance. So this global nonprofit industry association, which is dedicated to building the LoRaWAN standard and its global adoption. We have more than 350 members, all the way from chip makers to multinational operators, spanning all regions from Alaska to New Zealand. And this list is growing by 5 to 6 new members every month. And then if you're wondering, why are these companies joining LoRa Alliance? Why should you join? I know there are several members here already. Maybe that will be somewhat repeat for them. But for those who are not the member, there are several benefits of LoRa Alliance membership. It starts by steering the technology, by joining committees, contributing and voting in the task forces, committees, and even at the board level. Then you start steering the technology. So this is a member-driven organization. The technology is built by the members, for the general community. So by being in the alliance, by bringing your own challenges, opportunities, and the way you see market, you become part of the steering group that shapes up this revolutionary technology. Secondly, certifying devices and interop. So today we have 600 certified devices. And certification is the LoRa Alliance validation that your device is compliant with this standard. And it is a highly sought label in the market. And now we made it even easier and even less costly to get certification. We've got self-certification, so as an alternative to going to the authorized test labs, now you can run the test in-house and submit the results for getting certification. Secondly, we have reduced the amount of certification tests for family of devices. If you have a family of devices, or if you have a device that needs to be certified for multiple regions, you run through the full tests for the parent device, and for the children devices, there's a reduced number of tests, because there's no point in repeating the same tests. And secondly, certification for the similar devices or the children of the parent, it comes at a reduced cost. So these are the 3 changes we have done in the past year and a half, which is further accelerating certification. So if you haven't looked at certification within the last year or so, take another look at it. It is easier to get it. It is a more streamlined process. We provide tools, and it is less costly now. Then you want to scale, right? For scaling your devices, network services, we provide tools like globally unique device address space and a vendor ID. We provide you access to the technical and marketing insights through our publications and discussions and sitting shoulder by shoulder with the world's best LoRaWAN experts. And also regulatory support is what you get. And finally, what you need is marketing, right? Marketing your products, your services. So several tools we provide, including using our logo, getting on our events, showcasing with us, the webinars, getting your device in our marketplace, which has more than 800 products, and getting promoted on social media. So yes, several reasons, and if you haven't already joined, welcome to join us. So with that, I would like to thank you all for listening.
Awesome. Thank you, Alper.